Hello, in this video I am going to start a new topic. It is on various features or characteristics of statistical data. By statistical data, I would refer to a finite set of numbers or a finite set where the elements are tuples or pairs. That is, you can have a set of vectors. To make things simple, let us first consider a set of numbers. Now, such set of numbers are generated by different types of measurements and counts. For example, you can have a data on household incomes of a particular locality. One can have data on measurements of height. One can have data measurements on blood pressure, similarly measurements of weight, and environmental data. Of course, one can have one amount of rainfall recorded in a particular monsoon. If you repeat this measurement for several years, and then you can have data on market return, that is what is the percentage change in a stock market index. You measure that for n number of days, in so and so forth. So today we are all surrounded by data, and so what we have is essentially a finite set of numbers where those numbers represent some kind of measurement on one variable or one parameter of interest. It could be anything. It could be household income, it could be height, weight, or it could be in some environmental parameter like the temperature, amount of rainfall, and so forth. So when we have a set of numbers, we have to make some sense out of that, or in other words, we have to extract information out of that set of numbers. Otherwise, just a large set of numbers does not make much sense. So how do I summarize the information present in a set of numbers? That is what we are going to learn. Now, before I talk about the different measures to extract information from the data, we must first look at what are the characteristics of data. So just like if you want to know about a person, you have to understand about various aspects of personality of an individual. For example, how is his temperament, how is his what is his height, weight, temperament, and so and so forth. So in this way we classify different aspects of data. So without wasting much more time, let me get started straight away. When I have a set of numbers, then I refer to it as a univariate data or one-dimensional data, or data on one variable. So that would be just one set of numbers. If you think in terms of an Excel sheet, then it is either a one row or one column. So imagine an Excel sheet just consisting of one column. So that is called univariate data. So as I said, like suppose you have collected data on the household income of 100 households in a particular locality, or you have measured the weight of say, let us say 100 males above a certain age group in a population. And so in this way you could also have data on measurements of blood pressures. So now what do you do with that data? So we would look at four characteristics. One, central tendency. Second, dispersion. Third is skewness. Fourth is kurtosis. So I'll repeat the terms: central tendency, dispersion, skewness, and kurtosis. So in this course it is enough if you understand the first three, especially the first two, that is central tendency and dispersion. Skewness and kurtosis, to be honest, is a slightly advanced concept. So let us get started with central tendency. So by central tendency we refer to by central tendency we refer to a set of numbers using which we can summarize the data these typical values or specific values represent the center of the data. That is, data tend to cluster around these values. So measures of central tendency involve mean, median, mode, and of course different percentiles. So what is a mean or an average? It is simply the sum of the numbers divided by the number of observations present in the data. So if we think of the numbers as x1, x2, xn, then we add them x1 plus x2 plus xn and divide by n. That is the mean. And then median is that middlemost value. That is, if you sort the numbers in increasing or decreasing order, then find that numbers such that 50% of the numbers are less below it and 50% of the numbers are above it. So